Okay,
right.
We're on air. Like, was I'm going to do this one. I'll do this one. Okay. Well, everybody, it is Friday, March 15th here, the day before St. Urho's Day. For those of you who are Finlandia Club Finlandians, Finnish people do St. Urho's Day, right? No, it's St. Patrick's Day on the 17th. Yesterday was Pi Day. Friday means it's Friday night hangout here with Android Coliseum. Thanks for tuning in, and appreciate you guys taking this time to come on and listen to us talk and rant about things Android. And it's one of our look forward events in this whole week. Joining me, as always, is our team here at Android Coliseum. I'll start from my left this time with Cass Morrison, who is, going to be enjoying some sunny weather, leaving the Canadian Shield and soon, but was able to stop in for our hangout this week. Myself, Ryan, and we have Sylvain Laboris, who's manning the camera apps for us tonight, making sure we're looking good. And last but not least is Tom Gray. So, we're Android Coliseum. Guys, you can catch us on any number of social media sites, primarily Google+, on our Twitter, Android Coliseum, our Facebook, Android Coliseum, as well as on the blog, androidcoliseum.com. So check out our website, check out the blog, comment, and while we go through this hangout, you guys have several ways that you can actually comment and continue this conversation with us. We have a link for our agenda we're going to talk through tonight. You're able to make comments on there. You're able to make comments on the YouTube video, which is going live. Make comments on our Google Plus page. Make comments on our Facebook page, our Twitter, or whatever it might be. We'd really like to make sure we have this conversation with you guys and can talk Android. Once we're finished through the agenda, we'll open up to anybody who wants to jump in, and then we can just tell us how wrong you think we're feeling it. How wrong we're doing things here today. So especially today might be a pretty heated discussion with a couple of the topics we have on it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. So, the biggest news this past week has to be the Galaxy S4. One of the cheesiest announcements I think I've ever seen, I gotta say. I don't know how that fit in with the whole Galaxy theme or Samsung's theme, but it's here. It's highly anticipated, very iPhone-esque in terms of the leaks and the gossip and the rumors that were coming out. But it's now here, and we're looking at the device, and I posted an article today because I missed the whole review yesterday. Just some of the things that are out there. So, and we just were talking about this. I mean, it's a lot of sizzle, not steak, in this device, but it's got. I did the rough count. What, like 19, 20 brand new items or new features into this phone built in. For people like Cass was a big Samsung fan, who really appreciates those kind of features. Guys like myself, I go, it's not that exciting. I don't want all those features, but who knows? So let's take a look at it and go through it. Tom, your thoughts on the Galaxy S4 as it came out?
As it came out, I mean, it looked really good. 13 megapixel camera sounds great. I know it's only the size of the picture, not necessarily the quality. But Samsung is known for having top-notch cameras in their phones, and I would have to say, with all the numerous phones I've owned, Samsung has always stood above the rest when it comes in terms of camera. In terms of actual hardware upgrade on paper, it kind of seems like a half an upgrade from the Galaxy S3 rather than a whole new generation of Galaxy line. I'm a little bit disappointed. I was expecting more. I was expecting to see this octa-core everyone was rumoring. I think if they did release it like that, it would be like crazy hit, and I would probably be lined up right now, waiting for the stores to open with my little tent and everything. But I mean, it's going to be successful. I know Cass seems to put some interest into it. We'll get her thoughts in a minute. And I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on this one. I kind of want it, but is it really enough of an upgrade to justify upgrading from my Nexus 4? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because I put in the blog article the comparison to the S3. Like the weird thing is that we looked at this And it is going to be an octa-core internationally, I think it's going to. I think I was saying it was like a 1.2 gigahertz times 4 for this, and a 1.4 gigahertz times 4 for that. So it would be the octa-core, or whatever they're going to call it, for internationally. Mm-hmm. And I think this is the big problem, though, I have with Samsung and most of their stuff that they release for Canada, is that they have like 8 different flavors that come out. And when we remember back from the Galaxy S days, there was the Fascinate, the Vibrant, and the Captivate. And then there was the American versions. And then there was these versions. With the Galaxy S3, there was the international version that had quad-core, but didn't have LT, and it was only 1 gig of RAM. Canadian version was dual-core, had 2 gigs of RAM and LT. So it's... And as we look at what's going to come out in Canada, when they haven't really confirmed this yet, this is all sort of still speculation, but it looks like we'll get the quad-core 1.9 gigahertz version, whereas the international versions are going to get the octa-core versions. And I just one of those things, I hate being limited that way. Why not just release one device? And I'm going to say that, I'm going to keep saying one as many times as I can, because that's kind of the fight people are having these days. But yeah, like a lot of talk has been the fact that it's an in-betweener phone. The S3 to the S4 isn't that big a jump, so everybody's looking for the S5. And we said the same thing when the Galaxy Nexus to the Nexus 4 didn't seem that big of a jump, and we're looking for the next Nexus 5 or something. Cass, you're the big Samsung fan, and like you looked for all those features that came up. What was the selling point for you? Like you said, this is it. You're getting it.
Well, when I first saw the pictures, I didn't think I was getting it, but then when I saw more, the finish looks a little better. I like the way they have that actual band that squares it off a little bit, not so much the nature thing. I don't like that blobby look. The thing that I have really, really missed with having a Nexus phone is every time I want to do something a little out of the ordinary, I have to go to the Play Store, look at apps, evaluate whether they work for me, all that stuff. By that time, sort of the moment has passed. And I just appreciate, I know a lot of people talk about bloatware, 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 but I think we're now at the point with resources on our cell phones that we don't have to worry about that as much. So no, I'm back.
And I gotta admit, like I said, when I'm trying to watch the live event, I was absolutely rough to try to follow along, so I just read the recaps. But there's enough features that it's going to be very cool for me. I mean, some of the concerns I had with it, yeah, it's a spec bump, but for me, a spec bump isn't that great a big deal. Like, yeah, unless it's a huge thing. I don't mind if it's a small spec jump. But 1.9 gigahertz, that's a pretty fair, decent deal. 4.99 inches with some high resolution, that's a good spec jump. For me, what I really liked looking at when you saw it up close was the backing. The S3 felt really plasticky, and the backing on the it looks a little more like the Galaxy Nexus kind of back, that crisscross hatching. Mm-hmm. So it looked like it might be a little more sturdy, a little more durable. So I like that. 13 megapixel camera onto the device. I already have an 8 megapixel on the Nexus 4, and I'm burning through my 16 gigs of space. Imagine how much a 13 megapixel camera will burn through. So that's where having an SD card is going to be. You have to have it, and I don't like using SD cards if I don't have to. So
I love having them. I love using them for my media. Anytime I take photos, I like to have them on SD cards. Then I can swap them out.
I've got about 4 here that are broken. None of them have ever not failed me. It's one thing I can count on. It's death taxes, and then an SD card will fail me at the most inopportune time. So for me, that's my opinion. One other thing that kind of bugged me with the S4 is it's going to come with 4.2 out of the box. Other devices are just barely getting 4.1. And I really don't get, yes, it's got to be a flagship phone, but why not help the customers who've already backed you for many years and, lined your pockets? Give them 4.2, at the same time this guy comes out at 4.2. I don't know. For me, that's just kind of thing, I think.
I think Samsung's been very proactive on updating their devices. They always have been.
They've been
And
as good, but
I think it's
yeah.
unfair for something, for really the features that Samsung brings with TouchWiz, they more than make up for not going to 4.1.2 or 4.2.2 at this point in time. So, I mean,
Sure, yeah. But like I
they
know a lot of
have,
guys who are still stuck on ice cream sandwich on an S2, and it's they don't
yes,
even get
and
Google
that's
now. So
bad.
then that's bad. So and because it came out for Rogers, then they peeled it back for a while. They never let it back out, right? So a buddy of mine got it. He was lucky enough to get it. But I mean, it's he spent a whack of cash way back when to get a great device, and then the updates really haven't followed through and followed through and followed through. You got ice cream sandwich. I don't know. I just one of those things like I always like to go the back end. Go as low as I can first, upgrade those guys up to the newest. Go as low as you can, upgrade those. But that's just me. I mean, that's welcome to the world of
Not a
cell phones
businessman.
and computers and everything. You got to update the newest. They'd rather you buy a new one than update an old one, right? So, but then, but if you look at a bunch of stuff, they have a ton of features in there. My cool feature I liked about it was this. I'm trying to find the name of it. What was it? Story album, where it automatically organizes your photos in your photo album for you. An OCD guy like myself, that's awesome. I don't have to think about it. It's going to do it for me. A lot of features like dual cam. Why would you want
Could
two
be
cameras
cool.
going?
Video calling. Video
We'll see.
calling. I know my brother did that.
Yeah.
My brother has done that with me. Like when he was showing me his new house and all that stuff, it would have been very cool to have two cameras going at the same time, because then I would be able to see him and he would be able to see me, and he would be able to show me what was going on around him.
Yeah,
So
it's one of those things. I know how neat it was. Tom, you had a thought on that?
Yeah, on the dual camera. I mean, I'm not actually sure how they're going to make use of that, unless you're going to have like a main portion of a video with your facial reaction of the video. I mean, but what kind of comes to my mind is, what if you're taking a panorama and you just hold your phone up in the air and you can take it twice as fast because it's taking the rear and the front end, so you only have to do a 180 turn rather than a 360. I mean, because panoramas are generally a lower megapixel picture anyways, so the front camera would be just as good as the back in that case scenario. That's just what my mind goes to, because usually they take them at about 2 megapixel anyway when it comes to panoramas. So just an idea, I'm sure somebody will put that into play if Samsung doesn't.
So that's two
speaking of which,
reasons. Just off the top of our head.
So and then, but here's the thing. Actually, they brought up a point I actually thought about. One of the rumors that was going around was that this was supposed to come with the Galaxy S Orb. Remember what that was supposed to be?
And I did read.
Sphere. I didn't read anything about that orb.
Yeah,
did they
I have
talk
read
about that?
I have read that
they did.
now.
Okay.
It will be up to the carriers to decide whether or not they want to have that recharging back, or the wireless recharge. I don't see why you couldn't buy that as an aftermarket. And
not the charger.
They're coming
not
out
the charger.
No, but they have to pick whether they want the phone to be able to charge wirelessly or not.
No, but I
don't know why you wouldn't be able to
this,
buy back.
Not the orb, not the Galaxy Orb charging. I'm talking about, the photosphere. Samsung was going to call it the Galaxy S Orb instead of Sphere. They didn't talk about that at all. Yeah. So, anyways, but maybe the second camera is good for that. That idea of doing a panoramic and making a panoramic a little bit easier. Okay, so there's a lot of cool device. I mean, it's going to every carrier in Canada. Early estimates right now put it in the UK somewhere mid-April, late April. So hopefully Canada soon thereafter. Then we have the cost of it, and I think they're talking in the room right now. It's going to be an $800 device with probably about a $200 subsidized cost, which is hefty. So
I didn't hear it was that high.
That's a couple of the sites I've been saying. That's about what they're probably. But then again, the S3 came out at $750, and pretty soon thereafter came down. I think it's $650 now or something like that. You can get it free on most contracts. So, I mean, that's a conservative estimate, probably most likely. but keep that in the back of your mind. All right, let's move it along here. Oh, we lost Elaine. Okay, no problem, Elaine. Sorry, guy, you got to take off. You'll just be manning the cameras right now. HTC One. All right, so let's not forget about the other sort of flagship device out there. The HTC One, there was some discussion about the HTC One having an ultra pixel shortage, and it wasn't going to be hitting the markets in like Australia and UK, etc., yada, yada, yada. But it sounds like it's not going to affect the North American market, although they still haven't given a date in Canada yet, as far as I have been able to see. My contact at HTC still haven't been able to say anything for me either, because I'm heavily on their waiting list to try to get one and try it out. So that's that. On to the next topic. I asked you guys this past week, what is your #1 best tip or trick? I've had a few people in the past while switch to the Android camp, and usually they happen to pop into the office and like, hey, look what I got. And I'm like, oh, an Android. And you'll think, what can I show them? I got to show them. And you get overwhelmed because there's so many cool things you can do, right? So I started to put it to you guys. What is this #1 thing you guys would like to show up to somebody who's a non-Android user fan, or maybe a less, a new user? A lot of you guys have been saying widgets, because chances are most likely that's probably what they're going to be using. They're interacting with their device, what they see on it, right? So I want to make sure what they see is probably a better looking device, and widgets are a fantastic way to do that, because not a lot of people even know how to put their apps on the screen. So I try to show them how they put their apps and their widgets on the screen and move it around, etc. So a lot of you guys have been saying widgets, and some great explanations. So keep sharing this information. This is great stuff. I'm going to make a great article out of it. So I really appreciate you guys talking about it. A couple of you guys have been answering about the Google Now feature, which, I mean, one of those things is, Google Now is awesome. It is really just, how far is it to the moon? Blah, it's this far. It's cool. So that's some cool stuff. Again, go into the article. Please provide me with your thoughts and your discussion, because again, as we talk with other Android users, we want to share the love and show what the cool things are. All right, moving along. Android and Chrome OS to slowly merge. Now, this one was, possibly it came up because of a discussion we've seen about Andy Rubin. Has been stepped down from the Android camp to other projects here at Android or at Google. And we had, what was the guy's name? Sunday Pinchar or whatever, the new guy that's going to come into Android. He was from the Chrome OS camp from years. And it's something I called a while back, which was going to be that Android and Chrome OS would slowly become under one roof. And I think this is going to be a start. I know Tom's been really following because he's bought himself a Chromebook and it's on the way. So I'll let Tom sort of give his opinions on this.
Honestly, I would just love to see, what they're talking about, saying, harmonize the two operating systems. There's a whole bunch of people saying, oh my God, Android is going to become Chrome OS. Android OS is going to disappear, and our phones will be running Chrome OS. And they kind of went, no, it's not going to be like that. They're just saying, we're just going to kind of make them run parallel very smoothly. And they even said, even the iPhone and the Mac OS are very similar, but they're two different operating systems. They just found a way to make them harmonize, and Google's going to be doing the same thing. And Ryan was talking about, hopefully some features have been talking about being able to run Android apps on your Chromebook maybe in the future would be an awesome idea, because right now everything's all web-based. Yeah, it is true. I do have the Samsung Series 5 Chromebook coming in probably about a week. And hopefully I'll have some good reviews and things to say about it. But until then, I don't have a whole lot of information on it at this time.
No, and it's really basically a lot of it's just speculation, what people think, and what makes the most sense in the realm of what to happen. And I think, like I said, one of my dreams in this whole realm would be the idea of a multi-display, single processing device, right? So I get up in the morning, I use my phone, I pop my phone next to my TV, and I check my emails. I pick my phone up, I go on the train, and I text and I email. I get to the office, I put it down next to my monitor, and I continue that conversation and that work and that stuff. So same device, just multiple monitors. And that's kind of what I think I would see going forward is that Chrome OS would be some sort of desktop version of Android, whereas then Android is some sort of mobile version. Like if you've seen Ubuntu and Ubuntu Lite, etc. Mm-hmm. That's my thoughts and how I think. I mean, what's going to actually happen? We're going to have to find out and see.
You don't mean like Windows 8 and RT, do you?
I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to pretend to even know what I'm talking when it comes to Windows 8. I'm just so lost. I used to know this stuff, but now I don't. I don't know how that's going to work. But I am heavily jealous of Tom and his Chromebook. It sounds like a very interesting play. I'm looking forward to hearing your comment on that, Tom. So, into a bit of the rant time and my what the hell moment of Google Reader is being retired. And this is something we've talked about a long time, and it's been sort of been called the demise for a long time, that Google Reader never really got some new updates. It never really got, it got holo features eventually, but never really got +1 buttons. They started phasing out the Google advertising stream out of it, and it was just, you knew it was dying, and you knew it was going to happen eventually, but it was such a useful tool. Like myself, I use Google Reader daily, like hourly, and I can look at my extension on Chrome right now and see I still have 600 articles to go through and read through. And it's how I get most of my media. As much as I love my Google Plus stream, it's just very active, very littered, and it's not as sequentially ordered as I like it. So Google Reader was the perfect way to do that, and I just haven't found a proper replacement. So when they say it's going to be retired, I immediately get scared because I don't know what to go to. And there's been a lot of discussion on there are a bunch of different options out there, but I don't know. Now Cass, you use Google Reader, right?
Yes,
like
I do.
How often are you using Google Reader?
Well, constantly. Whenever
Yeah.
I don't have whenever I have a couple minutes, I'll see what's on my stream and read a few articles. So yeah, I actually didn't get into RSS feeds until I started using Google Reader. So kind of.
Like I use RS. Well, I've like years and years and years ago when I first started really getting on the internet, and I really started getting into stuff like I remember when netbooks became a big thing, right? When the Asus, what was it? The Asus Transformer EEPCs or whatever they were called were big, and that's when I really started getting back into technology and reading blogs and reading that stuff. And there were several blogs I loved to read, and my bookmark list was huge. I would go to it every couple hours, so I'd go and check those bookmarks, check that bookmark, check that bookmark, check that bookmark, etc. And it was just like, oh, this is exhausting. Oh, and then Google Reader came along and you're like, man, this is awesome. I can just go ahead and just subscribe to it. It puts them all together. I can sort them how I want them to. I can do this with them. I can save it for later, save it for reference articles. Like I said, so many stuff like recipes and how to tie knots and stuff in different feeds and different folders. It was such a great tool, and for it to go away now is absolutely horrendous for me. Like there's, like I go through 1,000 articles a day. Some of it's crap, I know that, but I mean I hate to try to figure out another system on how to do it. Now, Tom, you're not a big Google Reader user.
No.
So in your media consumption, how is it just your Google Plus stream?
It is. I made a circle of all my favorite Android websites, and of course, just about every single one of them posts onto their Google Plus stream. It's probably not as fluent and as fast to go through articles as you guys would on Google Reader. I tried Google Reader a few times. I found it a hassle to set up. There was a lot of initial setup to really get it the way you like it, where Google Plus is kind of just there, and it just worked. So I found it to be less set up, probably not as quick and speedy as you guys, but for me it gets the job done, but also it's all I really know, and I've never really had a reason to stray away from it. So that's why I use Google Plus. It just works.
And I think that's what it's going to boil down to, is the fact that I have to just get used to things change, and I just got so used to using Google Reader. And I think I used it since I would say at least 2006. I've been using Google Reader, and that's been my mainstay of how. So I just to find a new system after one that works so well. So I'm just a matter of going to try it out. And here's hoping that maybe it's going to somehow integrate into Google Plus in some way. It would make sense, as everything is going to be the central hub. So yeah, I am getting a little emotional about it. I'm a very OCD type A personality. Things have to be in order, and you change my order. I'm the kind of guy that I will spend an hour to figure out a way to do something that would take me 15 minutes to do it more efficiently, because I know I'll do it again and again and again and again. I'd rather spend the hour and a half setting it up so that every time I have to do it, it's only a minute versus 15. So anyways, that's just me. I'm getting old. Get off my lawn kind of thing. Anyways, on to it. So a couple times Thomas has talked about this feature, ad blockers on Android. So anybody who gets games like Angry Birds or most other apps out there that have that little free version usually have that little paid or a paid placement ad on the app. And Tom's found a way in a couple apps on how to get rid of those. And it looks like they're now going the way of the dodo, at least in the Play Store. So I'll let Tom talk about this one. He's a little more the expert.
All right, so most of the common routers, and you have to have a rooted phone or tablet to take advantage of this. The most common ones is ad-free or ad-away were the two most popular versions of this. And they were free apps, and what they would do is they would modify a host file inside your Android, and it would block about 95% of all in-app and on website ads. And therefore, freeing up space, having your web pages load faster because they don't have to load this advertisement banner. Also, as Ryan had mentioned, games like Angry Birds or whatever, if you have the free version, it will also remove that banner. There were a couple that managed to squeak by, but usually the apps updated quite frequently, and they would quickly patch that up. But then the developers would update and find a way, and it was a cat and mouse game around and around and around. So obviously something went amiss, and Google decided no more. They're not dealing with this anymore, so they kicked off all the ad blocking software. The two most popular ones, ad-free and ad-away, are gone. I actually did an app review on them not long ago. But if you know where to look, these developers that have these apps or had these apps on the Google Play Store also offer them on their websites. So if you can't find it on the Google Play Store, just go to their websites. Go on Google and search ad-free or ad-away, and you will find a installable APK on their websites, or somebody will be posting it on a Dropbox or whatever. So it's off the market, but it ain't gone. You just gotta know where to look. So that's the thing. But that being said, we do want to support developers because that is how they get paid, is by giving us, ads to look at, maybe even click on once in a while. They get a couple pennies every time you click on an ad, and so on and so on. And if we don't click on those ads or look at them or even have them load up, they don't get paid, and therefore they're probably not going to stick around too much because there's no reward. We ourselves at Android Coliseum also rely on this, so please support your developers. If you're going to use these ad blockers, do them a favor. Advertise their app once in a while on Google+. Just give them a hand in exchange for kind of taking away on the other hand, right? So be fair. All right, so that's my
or buy the paid version.
Yes, that too.
Yeah, buy the paid version. That's the thing. And again, because now that I'm in the world of AdSense, and our blog does make a couple pennies, a day off of the ad thing, and I mean a couple pennies. So yeah, it's something that would sort of help continue and make sure that, the blog continues, etc. But I can sort of see how it would help, like you're saying, especially if you're on data limited, right? Or you really want the app to go, you're in a low signal area, you don't want your game to slow down because it's trying to load the ad. Like especially Angry Birds or Samurai vs. Zombie has tons of ads all the time on it. And it's just like, okay, crap, I gotta wait, a couple seconds for this ad to go away. if I'm on the train going to work or something like that, maybe I want to turn it on just for that train ride to go to work. So think about it a little more responsibly. That's all I say. But like I said, the biggest thing is it's just the fact that they're gone from the Play Store. They're not gone entirely. People, you can still put them on because they still are for root-only stuff. But Google, and being responsible to the developers, has listened to that saying, listen, no, yeah, we're not going to support people who will circumvent our ads. Anyways, okay, so that one. The other thing that came up this past week, reminded us very much of the Nexus 4 sales, was the Google I/O event. And I can't remember what the date was for this Google I/O event, but it was $900 to attend, and probably another $1,000 to get there, stay, hotel, etc. So it was really for the die-hard developers, and for a lot of cases, people are saying for those fans, because last year's I/O event, I think it was about $1,000 worth of freebies they got. They got a free Chrome box. They got a Nexus 7, a Galaxy Nexus, like the Galaxy Q or the Nexus Q. Like there was something else they got too, but like 4 big items for free. And so that's where it was complaining this year, is because I couldn't go because everybody just wants to go and get freebies. Well, can you blame them if I/O is giving away that much stuff for free? So anyways, I hope those who deserve to go got to go, and I love to go, but hey, it sold out in 45 minutes. 45 minutes sold out. That's like Nexus 4 behavior. So how fast it sold out for $900 too. Okay, on to the reviews. This past week, I did a couple of reviews on some apps for you guys out there. I did Copy, a brand new cloud storage app. Me, I love my cloud storage. Copy and ForSync, 2 new versions out there. Again, try them out. If they're for you, they're for you. If not, then don't use them. I mean, but you know what? They're free. Try them out. That's the great thing. We have options. I think that's now 15 different cloud option apps I have in my database. So in the link for the review, again, I give you a full rundown and comparison of the features each of them have. So if you go read the review of Copy and you're not sure how does Copy compare to Dropbox, go to the website and you'll see that feature there. And if you want to try out Copy, go ahead and click my referral link. Yes, I get an extra 5 gigs, but then so will you.